Arthur Conan Doyle, The Sign of the Four. Chapter 12. The Strange Story of Jonathan Small. Part 3. Well, one thing quickly became clear to me. The soldiers always lost, and the civilians always won. I do not say there was cheating, but that is how it was. These prison officials had done little except play cards since they came to the Andamans, and they knew each other's style very well, while the others only played for fun and did not think much about it. Night after night, the soldiers left the table poorer, and the poorer they became, the more they wanted to play. Major Sholto lost the most. At first he paid with money and gold, but later he began to write promises to pay large sums. Sometimes he won for a short time, just enough to give him hope, but then he would lose even more. All day he walked around in a bad mood, and he began to drink much more than was good for him. One night he lost more than usual. I was sitting in my hut when he and Captain Morstan walked past on their way home. They were close friends and were always together. The Major was talking angrily about his losses. "It's all over, Morstan," he said as they passed my hut. "I will have to leave my position. I am a ruined man." "Nonsense, my friend," said the other, hitting him on the shoulder. "I have had bad luck too, but—" That was all I could hear, but it was enough to make me think. A few days later, Major Sholto was walking on the beach, so I took the chance to speak to him. "I would like your advice, Major," I said. "Well, Small, what is it?" he asked, taking his cigar from his mouth. "I wanted to ask you, sir," I said, "who is the right person to give hidden treasure to? I know where treasure worth $500,000 lies, and since I cannot use it myself, I thought it might be best to give it to the proper authorities, and perhaps they would reduce my sentence." "$500,000, Small," he said, looking closely at me to see if I was serious. "Yes, sir, in jewels and pearls. It is lying there, ready for anyone. And the strange thing is that the real owner has been removed from power and cannot keep property, so it belongs to whoever finds it first." "To the government, Small," he said. "To the government." But he spoke with hesitation, and I knew then that I had influenced him. "So you think, sir, that I should give the information to the Governor-General?" I said quietly. Well. You must not do anything too quickly, or something you may regret. Let me hear the whole story, Small. Tell me all the facts." I told him the whole story, with a few small changes so that he could not recognize the exact places. When I finished, he stood still and thought deeply. I could see from the movement of his lips that he was struggling inside himself. "This is a very important matter, Small," he said at last. "You must not tell anyone about it, and I will come to see you again soon." 2 nights later, he and his friend Captain Morstan came to my hut late at night with a lantern. "I want Captain Morstan to hear this story from you himself, Small," he said. I told it again, just as before. "It sounds true, doesn't it?" he said. "It is good enough to act on." Captain Morstan nodded. "Listen, Small," said the Major. "My friend and I have talked about this, and we think that your secret is not really something for the government, but a private matter. That means you can decide what to do with it. Now the question is, what price do you want for it? We might be willing to take it and at least look into it if we can agree on terms." He tried to sound calm, but his eyes were full of excitement and greed. "Well, gentlemen," I said, also trying to sound calm but feeling just as excited, "there is only one deal a man in my position can make. I want you to help me get my freedom, and also help my 3 companions get theirs. Then we will make you partners, and give you 1/5 of the treasure to share between you." He said. 1/5. That is not very attractive. "It would be about 50,000 each," I said. But how can we give you your freedom? You know that is impossible." "Not at all," I answered. "I have thought about everything carefully. The only problem for our escape is that we do not have a boat good enough for the journey, and no food for such a long trip. There are many small boats at Calcutta or Madras that would be good enough. You bring one here. We will promise to get on it at night, and if you leave us on any part of the Indian coast, you will have done your part of the deal." "If there were only one of you," he said. "All or none," I answered. "We have sworn it. The four of us must always stay together." "You see, Morstan," he said, "Small is a man of his word. He does not leave his friends. I think we can trust him." "It is a bad business," the other said. "But as you say, the money would help us a lot." "Well, Small," said the Major, "I suppose we must try to meet your terms. First, of course, we must check if your story is true. Tell me where the box is hidden, and I will get permission to leave and go back to India on the next boat to investigate." "Not so fast," I said, becoming calmer as he became more excited. "I must have the agreement of my three friends. I tell you, it is four or none with us." "Nonsense," he said. "What do three black men have to do with our agreement?" "Black or not," I said, "they are with me, and we all go together." Well, in the end we had another meeting, where Muhammad Singh, Abdullah Khan, and Dost Akbar were also present. We discussed everything again, and finally we made an agreement. We would give both officers maps of the part of the Agra fort and mark the place in the wall where the treasure was hidden. Major Sholto would go to India to check our story. If he found the box, he would leave it there, send a small boat ready for a long journey, which would wait near Rutland Island, and we would find our way to it. Then he would return to his duties. After that, Captain Morstan would ask for leave, meet us at Agra, and we would divide the treasure there, with him taking both his own share and the Major's share. We promised all this with the strongest oaths we could make. I stayed awake all night with paper and ink, and by morning I had the two maps ready, signed with the sign of four, that is, Abdullah, Akbar, Muhammad, and myself. Well, gentlemen, my story is long, and I know my friend Mr. Jones wants to take me to prison. I will make it as short as I can. The villain Sholto went to India, but he never returned. Captain Morstan showed me his name on a list of passengers on a ship soon after. His uncle had died and left him a fortune, and he had left the army, yet he still treated us so badly. Morstan went to Agra soon after, and found, as we expected, that the treasure was gone. That villain had stolen it all, and had not kept a single promise we had agreed on. From that day, I lived only for revenge. I thought about it during the day and dreamed about it at night. It became the strongest feeling in my life. I did not care about the law or about being hanged. To escape, to find Sholto, and to get my hands on him, that was my only thought. Even the Agra treasure became less important to me than killing Sholto. Well, I have decided many things in my life, and I have always done them. But it took many long years before my chance came. I have already told you that I learned some medicine. One day, when Dr. Somerton was sick with fever, a small Andaman islander was found by a group of prisoners in the forest. He was very ill and had gone there to die. I took care of him, even though he was as dangerous as a young snake, and after 2 months, I made him healthy again and able to walk. After that, he became attached to me and did not want to return to the forest, but stayed near my hut. I learned a little of his language from him, and this made him like me even more. Tonga, that was his name, was a very good boatman and had a large canoe of his own. When I saw that he was loyal to me and ready to do anything for me, I saw my chance to escape. I spoke to him about it. He was to bring his boat on a certain night to an old dock that was never guarded, and there he would pick me up. I told him to bring several containers of water and plenty of yams, coconuts, and sweet potatoes. He was loyal and true, that little Tonga. No man ever had a more faithful friend. On the night we chose, he had his boat ready at the dock. But by chance, there was one of the prison guards there, a cruel Pathan who had often insulted and hurt me. I had always promised to take revenge, and now I had my chance. It was as if fate had put him there so I could pay him back before leaving the island. He stood on the bank with his back to me and his gun on his shoulder. I looked for a stone to hit him with, but I could not find one. Then I had a strange idea and realized I already had a weapon. I sat down in the dark and took off my wooden leg. With 3 quick jumps, I reached him. He tried to raise his gun, but I hit him hard and broke his skull. You can still see the crack in the wood where I struck him. We both fell down because I lost my balance, but when I stood up, he was lying still. I ran to the boat, and within an hour we were far out at sea. Tonga had brought everything he owned with him, his weapons and his gods. Among other things, he had a long bamboo spear and some coconut matting, which I used to make a kind of sail. For 10 days we traveled on the sea, trusting to luck. And on the 11th day, we were picked up by a trading ship going from Singapore to Jeddah with Malay pilgrims. They were a strange group, but Tonga and I soon lived among them. They had one good quality. They left you alone and asked no questions. Well, if I told you all the adventures that Tonga and I had, you would not thank me, because I would keep you here until morning. We traveled around the world, and something always stopped us from reaching London. But all the time, I never forgot my goal. I dreamed of Sholto at night. Many times I killed him in my dreams. At last, about 3 or 4 years ago, we arrived in England. I did not have much trouble finding where Sholto lived, and I began to find out if he had used the treasure or still kept it. I made friends with someone who helped me. I will not say the name, because I do not want to cause trouble for anyone. And I soon learned that he still had the jewels. Then I tried in many ways to reach him, but he was very careful and always had 2 strong fighters, as well as his sons and his servant, guarding him. One day, however, I heard that he was dying. I went at once to the garden, angry that he might escape me like that, and when I looked through the window, I saw him lying in bed, with his sons on each side. I would have gone in and faced all 3 of them, but as I watched him, his mouth fell open, and I knew he was dead. Still, I got into his room that same night and searched his papers to see if there was any note of where he had hidden our jewels. There was nothing, so I left, feeling very angry and bitter. Before I went, I thought that if I ever met my Sikh friends again, it would be good to show that I had left a sign of our hatred. So I drew the sign of the 4, as it had been on the map, and pinned it to his chest. It was wrong that he should go to his grave without a sign from the men he had cheated. At that time, we earned money by showing Tonga at fairs and similar places as a black cannibal. He would eat raw meat and perform his war dance, so we always earned a good number of coins after a day's work. I still heard news from Pondicherry Lodge, and for some years there was nothing new, except that they were searching for the treasure. At last, however, the news we had waited for came. The treasure had been found. It was at the top of the house, in Mr. Bartholomew Sholto's laboratory. I went there at once to look at the place, but I could not see how I could reach it with my wooden leg. However, I learned about a trap door in the roof, and also about Mr. Sholto's dinner time. It seemed to me that I could do it easily with Tonga's help. I took him with me, with a long rope tied around his waist. He could climb like a cat, and he quickly got through the roof, but unfortunately, Bartholomew Sholto was still in the room, which cost him his life. Tonga thought he had done something clever by killing him, and when I climbed up the rope, I found him walking around proudly. He was very surprised when I hit him with the rope and shouted at him for being so violent. I took the treasure box and lowered it down. Then I climbed down myself, after leaving the sign of the 4 on the table, to show that the jewels had finally returned to those who had the most right to them. Tonga then pulled up the rope, closed the window, and escaped the way he had come. I do not think I have anything more to tell you. I had heard a boatman talk about the speed of Smith's boat, the Aurora, so I thought it would be good for our escape. I made an agreement with old Smith and promised him a large amount of money if he took us safely to our ship. He probably knew something was not right, but he did not know our secret. Everything I have told you is true, and I am not telling it to entertain you, because you have not helped me much, but because I believe the best way to defend myself is to hide nothing and let everyone know how badly Major Sholto treated me, and how I am not responsible for the death of his son. "A very remarkable story," said Sherlock Holmes. "A suitable ending to a very interesting case. There is nothing new for me in the last part of your story, except that you brought your own rope. I did not know that. By the way, I had hoped that Tonga had lost all his darts, yet he managed to shoot one at us in the boat." "He had lost them all, sir, except the one that was already in his blowpipe." "Ah, of course," said Sherlock Holmes. "I had not thought of that." "Is there anything else you want to ask?" said the prisoner calmly. "I think not, thank you," my friend answered. "Well, Holmes," said Athelney Jones, "you are a man who likes such things, and we all know you enjoy crime cases, but duty is duty, and I have already done quite a lot for you and your friend. I will feel better when we have this man safely locked up. The cab is still waiting, and there are 2 officers downstairs. I thank you both for your help. Of course, you will be needed at the trial. Good night to you." "Good night, gentlemen," said Jonathan Small. "You first, Small," said the careful Athelney Jones as they left the room. "I will make sure you do not hit me with your wooden leg like you did to the man in the Andaman Islands." "Well, that is the end of our little story," I said, after we had sat smoking in silence for some time. "I am afraid this may be the last case where I can study your methods. Miss Morstan has agreed to become my future wife." He gave a sad groan. "I was afraid of that," he said. "I cannot really congratulate you." I felt a little hurt. "Do you have any reason to be unhappy with my choice?" I asked. "Not at all. I think she is one of the most charming young ladies I have ever met, and she could have been very useful in our work. She had a real talent for it. For example, the way she kept the Agra plan safe among her father's papers. But love is an emotional thing, and anything emotional is against the cold, clear thinking that I value above everything. I would never marry, because it could affect my judgment." "I hope," I said, laughing, "that my judgment will survive this." "But you look tired." "Yes, I am already feeling the reaction. I will be very weak for a week." "It is strange," I said, "how what I would call laziness in another man is mixed with your moments of great energy and strength." "Yes," he answered. "I have in me both the making of a very lazy man and also a very active one. I often think of some lines by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Schade, dass die Natur nur einen Mensch aus dir schuf. Denn zum würdigen Mann war und zum Schelmen der Stoff." By the way, about this Norwood case, you see that they had, as I thought, someone helping them inside the house, and it could only be Lal Rao, the butler. So Jones has the full honor of catching at least one criminal. "That seems a bit unfair," I said. "You have done all the work in this case. I get a wife, Jones gets the credit. What do you get?" "For me," said Sherlock Holmes, "there is still the cocaine bottle, and he lifted his long white hand to take it.